Hello everyone, this is Adnan with another video on AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate Training, and in this video we are going to go into more detail about VPC, Virtual Private Cloud in AWS. So this is the third part 3 of for understanding networking concepts within AWS. So in this first video we just created a very simple architecture with VPC and a subnet and EC2 connected VPC internet gateway. In the second video we expanded a little bit in having two subnets within VPC. You can watch the second video, and this is the third video. In this we are going to go into a little bit more advanced, it's not very advanced, but it's a little bit more advanced level, where we are going to use VPC peering. Now the concept of VPC peering is that we can connect two different VPCs together. So we have VPC1 with a public subnet. The idea is that all of the users that are coming from outside connects to AWS cloud. They connect through internet gateway, connect to a public subnet, and this instance that is sitting in the public subnet. Normally this type of topology is known as HuB and SPoKE topology. This is known as a management network. Here we keep all types of gateways or all types of firewall appliances and all. So this is used for a protection layer. So in this and then we are going to have another VPC which will be considered as the internal side of the network, and within the VPC we are going to create another subnet, that is so that subnet will be considered as a private subnet. And since this is not the same subnet, unlike the previous video, we have one VPC and two subnets here. So there is no requirement of peering. They just go with the routing, the routing between the subnets that was automatically done. When you create a VPC, all the subnets within the VPC, they can access each other, whereas in this we would need to, in order to connect this VPC to this the second VPC, we need to do VPC peering. Peering is required when you need to connect two networks together, just like a router in physical networks. So okay, so let's get started. So in this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create two VPCs, one VPC for a HuB network or the management network, and the second VPC which is a SPoKE, which is our application, which will be representing our application side of the infrastructure. Okay, so let's get started. So the very first thing, we are going to set up our network, and in the network I'm going to go to VPC. We all have just default VPC, so here I'm going to create a new VPC. So the VPC will be called pass demo. This is HuB01, and based on our architecture, our architecture is 14.0.1.0. So this will be 14.0.1.0. We can have completely different range here as well. So just for the sake of this recording, what we'll do is that this VPC, the subnet will be the same, but the IP address for the VPC, the address space for the VPC will be 14.0.0/16. so there will be a bigger range for the VPC. So this will be considered as a VPC range, and I'm gonna use this in this here as well. So this VPC is completely, since it's a different network, I am going to use a different range here. So in this I'm going to use 15. So considering that it's a different network, and since this subnet is sitting in this, I'm also going to use 15 as a subnet. So the address space for this VPC is 15.0.0.0, and here it is 14.0.0.0. We can have it 10.0.0.0.0 and 172, or we can use the private ranges. Here I'm just gonna use it for our lab purposes. Okay, so the first one is address space is 0/16, and no need for the IPv6, and here I'm gonna just create this VPC. Secondly, I am going to create a second VPC, which is for our SPoKE network, or essentially for the application side. So here I'm gonna call this demo, and this will be SPoKE 01, and the subnet that we are going to use is 15.0.0.0/16. So these are the two VPCs created, keeping an eye on our architecture. So we created just this VPC and this VPC with their subnet. Now I'm going to create the subnets for them, and one will be considered as public subnet. This will be considered as private subnet. Private simply meaning that it is sitting inside the network. So within the subnet we have these default subnets. We're not making any changes to the default subnets here. I'm going to create a new subnet. So first subnet will be attached to my HuB, which is management network, and I'm going to call this pass demo. Pass is the organization name, and demo, and this will be our considered as a public subnet 01. I'm going to copy this name, and this will be 14.0.1.0/24. So this will be the first subnet. If there are more subnets inside, we can have more subnet. We can also go with zone selection. I'm not going to go with zone selection at the moment, and just create this subnet. So this subnet is part of VPC, which is our VPC that is sitting in the HuB network. Second subnet will be for the SPoKE network, and that's why I copied the name so that I can just make changes to private subnet 01, and the range is 15.0.1.0/16. So this is the second subnet. Now if this is I know that these concepts might be new at this point, but keep an eye on your architecture. We're not doing anything out of that is not part of this architecture. We created one VPC with this address space, and we created second VPC with this address space, and also we created this subnet with this subnet IP range in this VPC, and we created this. So now that we have VPCs together here, what we are going to do, create two instances. One instance will be sitting in here, and the second Windows instance will be sitting here. So for this one, I am going to go back to instances. So this is my instances here. I'm going to launch this instance. So here I'm looking for Windows, and within Windows I'm going to go with 2016 base, which is this one. And we can go with Linux instances as well. Windows instances are easier to handle since our focus is on networking, understanding networking concepts. So at the moment, no need to go for Linux instance, because then you'll have to do a lot of command line there. It's easier to focus on what we are working. So I'm going to go with, so this instance is sitting in the HuB network. So this is the HuB network, and it automatically selected public, and I'm going to select a public IP address as well. Other than that, nothing else is required. Storage will be the same. We are going to add a tag. Make sure that name starts with capital N, otherwise it won't register as a tag. So here I'm going to name this pass demo, and this is Windows. I'm going to call this pub 01. So this is a Windows for public, and for the security group I'm also going to name this accordingly. We don't have anything specific, but what I can do is we can add a port HTTP. Maybe we test it through a web server as a web server instance. So launch, and here I'm going to use the existing key. And if you want to create a new key, you can create a new key pair, but you need to know where it is sitting. I'm going to use the existing key here. So launch, So this is launching this instance. So now we are going to create the second instance. So second instance will be Windows instance again, and here going to 2016 based image, and in here all we need to do is in configuration we need to make sure that this is part of our SPoKE network. So this is a SPoKE network, automatically selected the subnet because that's the only subnet, and we don't need public IP because we are going to connect from the real test will be connect from the public Windows server to this Windows server through peering, through all the configuration. So in the storage we don't need anything extra. Okay, so somehow I got logged out, and I'm gonna try again here, and that's weird. Normally that doesn't happen. So in this case let's see, where are we with the instances? So it started again. So I'm gonna Windows instance and 2016 base, and here nothing special required. The only thing we need to make sure that this is part of SPoKE and private, and no public IP address required. In the storage, nothing required. In the tag, you can, if you type it with this, it's strange that if you name it like this, it won't appear, but if you name it with the capital N, actually I'm going to show you that. So that's really strange that I experienced. So this is Windows PRI01. This is Windows private. So I'm going to copy this so that I can, if the tag is not there, then I can use paste. I can paste this name. I'm gonna just okay, so I accidentally copied this instead of pasting, so I'm gonna paste that here. Again, here I'm gonna just have HTTP in case we plan to test web server from internally as well. So launch EC2 instance. So here now that our two instances are being made, so what's happening now is two instances are being made, and you can see that since I tried to put in name with small s, small n, it doesn't appear here within the tag name. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put it right here. So now both instances are being created. This instance is running. So this instance is running, but its status is not okay at the moment. What we can do, we can see that this is my SPoKE network. This is the SPoKE network. What about this one? Okay, so this one is okay, yeah, so this is HuB network and the other one is the SPoKE network. So now let's go back to the architecture diagram. What we did, we created VPC first, then we created the subnet. Now we created two instances sitting in them. Now what we need to do is first of all, once the instances are back, we'll try to access them. Try to access this one. This one won't work because we haven't configured internet gateway. So we'll do that one by one once these instances are back, so that to prove it is a learning. I want you to see that every step of the way, what do we need to configure, what is the error message when something doesn't work. So I'm going to pause the video. Once the instances are ready, then I'm going to continue. So now let's see, it's about few minutes. I'm gonna just go back and see if the instances are ready. So I'm gonna just change it to here and try to connect to one of the instances. So public instance, connect, and here in order to get the password we need to choose a file, and it is sitting in my in the folder where I have this file. So the file is sitting in my C drive, and it is in the I was placing the file within the profile folder. So this is the key file, and I am going to paste it decrypt the password, and this is the password. I'm going to copy this password and connect to the server. So connecting to the server. So this won't connect. Why? Because it will give an error message, and the reason is that we haven't created an internet gateway. So you need to know that we need to create an internet gateway, attach it to the VPC. So so we got this error message. So in order to fix that first error message, what I need to do is I need to go back to so this is my instance screen, and I'm gonna close this. From here, probably if I am connected, it should let me. So I'm here. I need to create an internet gateway first, and that internet gateway, so there is a default gateway available, but I'm gonna use so pass demo I internet gateway 01, and that's the internet gateway. And we know that if you have gone through my previous videos, when you create an internet gateway, it must be attached to a VPC. So this will be attached to our HuB VPC. So this will be attached to the HuB VPC, attach internet gateway. Once it is attached, all we need to do is now set up the routing table for that VPC, because that VPC doesn't know where to connect for internet. So we need to go to SPoKE, the HuB, and SPoKE is not a public network. We are not going to connect SPoKE to the outside world. Looking at our architecture, it will be this HuB network that will be connected to internet gateway. So for that reason, I'm gonna go back to here, HuB network, and go into the routes, edit route. So one route is default route is there. I am going to create the other route, which is this, and I am going to I'm saying that all the traffic from this subnet can use this internet gateway for all the internet requirements. So here, once this is done, now I am going to go back to EC2 instance. Try to connect to the EC2 instance, and in here I'm gonna copy this to a public IP address. It had a public IP address since we said we needed a public IP address, and now we are about to connect. So you see, the first troubleshooting we did was to provide internet gateway and a route in order to connect this instance to outside world. So I'm copying the password that we decrypted few minutes back, and we are able to connect now. So now we are able to connect to this. So the first challenge is done, and we are able to connect. So I'll let this continue. The second challenge will be that now we need to connect from this Windows machine to this other Windows machine. We need to ping it, or either we need to connect to this machine via remote desktop. So in order to do that, since it is not another subnet within the same VPC, if it would have been a second subnet within the same VPC, we would have not had to do anything. But now, since this is a completely separate network with a separate range, I need to create a VPC peering. So I need to create peering, but before that, let me show you that what is the error message we are getting on this machine while we try to connect to this private IP address. Private IP address is 15.0.1.0.24. So here I'm just going to go to CMD. So control panel on this, I'm going to continuous ping. I'm going to set up a continuous ping for this other. So I'm going to say, first of all, ping 15.0.1.1. So we need to see what is the IP address. The IP address on that machine you can find out right from the instance itself. So instance is right here, and the IP address on this machine is right here, 15.0.146.146.127. Okay, so this is the IP address that we provided. Actually, it automatically got that IP address. I'm just thinking that why did it get this IP address? Okay, anyways, for now I'm not gonna go into that because it should have been getting the IP address from one range here, and since the suffix is 24, probably, but for now I'm just gonna copy this IP address, bring it here, and this is the IP address is 146.127, and I'm gonna say continuous ping. So -t is used for continuous ping. At this point it won't ping, it will time out for sure. Why? Because there is no routing set up between the two networks. So first of all we need to do a routing between the two subnets. So in order to do a pairing between the two networks, first of all I need to go down within the VPC here, where you have all these other settings. I'm gonna go down to peering. So I need to peer the two networks. So so what I'm about to do is create a peer between this network and this network and this subnet and this subnet. So here I'm gonna go to create peering, and it will be a pairing. The name of the pairing will be pass hub SPoKE peering. Hub and SPoKE peering. So the requester network is HuB. So from HuB, and select another VPC for pairing. So this will be same account, same region, and acceptor network is SPoKE. So I'm going to create this pairing, and the tag is the name actually. So tag will be I'm gonna add a tag here and create pairing. So now that we have pairing done, so I'm going to click OK here. So pairing is done. Now here we need to understand few things. First of all, there is pending acceptance. What happened is the requester is the HuB network. So we need to understand this, that the requester is HuB network, acceptor is SPoKE network. So here we need to do few things within this. So first of all, I need to accept the pairing. So the first thing is that I'm going to go to here, and here I'm going to say accept request. So this is done. Once it is accepted, it will be activated. So the pairing is active, but pairing won't solve our problem. It is still not pinging the EC2 instance. So in order to do that, what we need to do is we need to do few things here. Number one in line is there are two things. Number one is that we need to create a security rule between the two. So we need to first of all select the both of the instances, and on these instances we need to open port 3389. We need to open 3389 on both of the instances. If we need to connect from here to here or here to here with these IP addresses, also we need to open ICMP. ICMP is the port for pinging. So in order to get a ping response, we need to open these two ports. Number one. Number two, also what we need to do, the second thing we need to do, we need to add a route in the routing table. So route in the routing table will be that from this VPC the traffic will flow. In order to reach the traffic to this subnet, which is 15.0.0.16, that traffic will flow from this VPC to here, and from here to here. So it goes from here to here. So in order to connect from here to here, we need to do two things. Number one, in the security group of this system we need to add this, and in the routing table we need to add a route. In order to go to this subnet, we need to the VPC pairing will be the destination. So two things we need to do in order to complete this. So all we need to do is go back to pairing. I'm gonna take the pairing name from here, pairing ID basically. So I'm gonna copy this Peering ID, we are going to need that when creating a route between the two. I'm going to go to the routing table, and I'm going to go to the hub, which is this one. So from here, in order to go to the route, we need to add a route for in order to get to 15.0.0.16, the complete network. We will go through this routing the peering information. So I'm gonna delete this from here. I think so there is a peering connection though, so I'm gonna use this peering connection between HuB and SPoKE, which is exactly the same. So this is a peering connection, and save. Previously we used to just copy the ID of the peering, so the ID that I copied was not peering, but before we used to add the ID, but now they have a proper VPC connection in here. So we did that, and secondly, what we need to do on this HuB, on the HuB EC2 instance, we need to go to the security group. So I'm going to go to the security group, and in the inbound ports, I do need to inbound, and I do need to add two more ports here. Number one, ICMP. So there is this one ICMP port open for this. We have this port open from everywhere. So this is anywhere for this, and at the same time what we need to do is, so this haven't started yet, so at the same time what we need to do is we need to go to outbound is everything open, in outbound everything is open. On the other side, which is the other VM, so I'm going to go to the other VM as well, actually for this one, yes. So on the other security group, so I'm going to go to the security group right here, and the security group for my SPoKE network. So this is my private network, which is this one. So within this, I am going to go to inbound ports and add a rule for ICMP traffic. ICMP traffic is basically the ping traffic from here, and here I'm going to say from anywhere. We can make it specific for make it specific for the server itself. So here, let's go back here, and it is not working. So let's look at our diagram. What we did in the diagram, we created peering. We also opened the port from here to this network, and we send all of the traffic to VPC peering. So we added a route in here. I think we do need to add a route to the other VPC. Okay everyone, we did everything we could, but the system, the Windows server that is sitting in the HuB network is not able to ping the Windows system that is sitting in here. We did enable the security group, we did the peering as well, we also added the routing group. So in this video I'll leave this to this, and then the next video I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot this situation. So I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching this video.